How's it going, everyone? I am Dylan. This is my cousin Carlo. This is All You Can Board, and this is our 6th episode, I believe, of our Rate and Roast Your collection. So we are taking a look at 5 different collections that have been sent in. 4 of them are from our patrons, and we're going to rate and mostly roast everything that's on the shelves. If you haven't seen this before, we have 5 other episodes you can go back and watch, and if you want to know how you can submit your collection to be featured on a future episode, check the description and stick around to the end. We'll go over it as well. Mm-hmm. Let's jump right into it. First collection is going to be from Elizabeth, and this is one of our patrons, and she has a very beautiful looking collection here with some beautiful walls and decorations. It's the first thing I noticed. I don't know if that's the first thing you noticed.
Yeah, but we've seen pictures of her game room in our Discord. Beautiful setup there, but we're just going to focus on the collection here today.
Yeah.
And I will point out that right off the bat, because if I don't, you're going to. It appears she probably subscribes to Top Shelf Billing, right? That's what you were thinking of?
Because of Twilight Imperium.
The fact that it's Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
It could just be because the box maybe doesn't fit in one of the cubes, but I know you were just waiting. You just like Top Shelf Billing, Top Shelf Billing, Top Shelf Billing. As soon as you saw it, and proudly displayed. We'll have to try it someday.
And the very first game on the very top actual cubicle shelf is Agricola.
And the fact that I think she said that she is Team Agricola actually, and you can see. I mean, she has 3 really good Agricola. Uwe Rosenberg. I guess we haven't tried La Havre yet, but Feast Rodin's nowhere in sight.
I don't think she said no.
Pretty sure, actually, if you go back and look at the email, I'll post proof in the Discord.
And she has La Havre and Noose Fjord as well, like you mentioned.
Genotype sneaking its way onto that shelf. I wonder.
She needs to get another Uwe game to replace Genotype, just so it can be a full Uwe shelf.
True.
Though.
It's
true.
That
should be the next thing you're trying to get is just any Uwe game.
Maybe Hallertau or
something
Glass
that fits
Road.
in there. Or Feast for Odin.
I was gonna say you're gonna let he's just like those games.
Because honestly, I don't know if Feast for Odin will fit in that little spot. So
the Norwegians.
So you'll have to take Agricola off the shelf to be able to fit.
She's Team Agricola. She's made that very clear.
She also got Batoku on there, which is a newer game.
Yeah.
We played it once. Want to play it more.
Yeah.
I've not played Eternal Palace, and Terracotta Army. You said is a newer game.
Yeah, it's pretty much brand new. I think most places it's not even in hitting retail yet. I know there's been some recent reviews for it. Intrigued by it, but I don't know much about it. Tapestry, we've talked about this before. I'm not a big fan of Tapestry. Again, I've only played it on Board Game Arena, but there's a reason why when I went into the local game store here, I went to buy a gift for someone for their birthday, and Tapestry was on sale. It was like $20 off, and the guy at the store kept trying to he's like, "Oh, take Tapestry, I'll give you another 20% off." I was like, "Oh no, I'm okay, thanks." He's like, "If you take Tapestry, I'll give you." I was like, "Easy, man, you're trying to push Tapestry out pretty hard here." And it definitely did not live up to the name. So
the one thing I'll quickly mention as an aside, I have noticed that because we care so much about shelf organization. Every shelf is going from highest to lowest, left to right.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Has been organized to be like, here's the Uwe shelf, here's a bunch of Sentries, here's Final Girl.
I noticed the Sentry and the Uwe, there was something that you can tell right away. It's very pleasing to the eye, and it makes sense with the whole aesthetic of the room that, Elizabeth clearly cares about the way things look, and it's a very nice, inviting setup.
This is some solid shelf organization, Elizabeth. I'm very happy.
You know what I'm realizing? I'm remembering she mentioned in her most recent email, because she did send us an update, that she just got back from Gen Con, and that's why we have games like Terracotta Army, which is so new.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know if Eternal Pals was, but now because I'm seeing the Mirroring of Mary King on here, which is the newest game from Jim Felly, who did Cosmic Frog.
Right.
Super intrigued by that game. Super jealous to see that on your shelf, actually, Elizabeth. Curious if you've played it. Let us know in the Discord, maybe.
I like the whole cubicle of Final Girl. This is one that I almost backed. I think Braden may have backed this, or he was thinking about it. I almost did, but she must have gone for like an all-in pledge on the original or something, because there's it looks like that's the entire set.
It was pretty hot on BGG for a while. I know a lot of people were playing it. Looks like an interesting game.
Also, great. This is why I love this organized. This is just going to end up being my favorite organized shelf on the episode for sure, because it's 3 Centuries with Equinox, but tell me that Equinox doesn't look like it belongs with the Century games.
It's the Plan B. It's the same publishing company,
everything
same
makes
size of
so
box.
much sense. It's just a great little shelf. I love it.
Yeah.
Even like the color scheme, like the this has like a rounded edge. This has those rounded little embezzle. Like it's great. I love it.
Man, I don't remember the last time Dylan was this happy during a collection roast video.
This is the organization I want to see.
All right, let's see what else is down here. We've got Chai. Okay, I haven't tried that one, but They are
Tiny
a
Towns,
Canadian. I don't know how to do
You
this
hate
laptop. I
laptops.
hate trackpads. This is why I always put you in charge, but you're.
Tiny Towns,
Towns,
the original
awesome,
Seven Wonders,
obviously.
which you don't always see as much of these days,
Yeah.
considering Seven Wonders Duel came around.
Yeah, party games shelf here. Some real good ones.
what's
Wavelengths.
Trellis?
I don't know actually.
Yeah, that one I'm not
too
sure of.
familiar with it. Dog lover, but no cat lady.
Good.
I'm offended. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, One Night
Some
Ultimate
people are
World,
dog people.
Cockroach Poker. Like, there's a bunch of different like party-esque type
Yeah,
games
Spirit
here.
Mission DC. For the Fuzzies is one that sounds fun. I remember I was close to backing it on Kickstarter, and then I didn't, thinking, maybe it's just going to be like one of those games where once the novelty wears off. And then I've been hearing some actually pretty good things about it, and
This is
I
the
would like to try
only.
it.
This is the only shelf I think needs a little, or only cubicle
little love,
needs
yeah.
a little love. I don't know how you would do it. I don't know what the best way to do it, but out of all of them, this is the one that stands out. Is the one with One Night and the Mind and Skull.
And like, to be fair, there have been some other abomination of collection sorting that we've seen. So like, this is not bad at all. It's just in comparison to the rest, this one just looks like you didn't put as much thought into it.
To
But
be fair-
still, there's nothing wrong with that.
To be fair, there's been some abominations, but
Well,
absolute
true.
shit on
Dude,
this channel.
Do you remember? There have been times where we've ragged on organization of one
That's
shelf
true.
for like 2 minutes at a time, and like,
Very true.
that's not that bad.
Yeah. What about
yeah.
Terraform Mars relegated to the bottom right cube on the shelf? Wow.
I mean, I'm fine.
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, that's
I mean,
good.
I wasn't a big fan of Betrayal at House on the Hill when I played it either, so I would be totally.
I haven't played it.
Fine with having both those games on the bottom shelf myself.
Planet, our friend Corbin just got it for his classroom. Actually, we haven't played it, but I'm interested to check it out.
Yeah. Blue Orange has a lot of good titles that we've enjoyed in the past, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Whole shelf of Catan.
Ladder Tycoon.
Do you even
Yeah.
have? You do still own your copy of
No,
Catan?
no.
it's
I'm
gone.
trying to get rid of the expansion still, but I got rid of the base game a while ago. And then we have Clask, which is a dexterity game we've been wanting to try. So
Honestly, you're not leaving us much to roast here, Elizabeth. Aside from that one shelf that needs a little bit of love, and if I want to get really, really picky, Final Girl has all this empty space around it that like there might be a way to organize that to include more games that would fill it up nicer.
yeah, I'm gonna
But,
go on a
like,
limb and say that Elizabeth is a bit of a seasoned pro here, in that she's probably watched quite a few of our collection roasts. She also, remember, this is an updated picture, so she's been able to see our methods, see what we what we need to be pleased by these kind of
This
collection
is the problem
photos,
with
so-
doing so many of these collection roasts. People are going to start like preparing
Knowing
before they send them in and be
exactly.
like, I don't want to get roasted.
Exactly. So
Thanks
but yeah,
so much,
nice
Elizabeth.
collection, great assortment of games, and thank you. Yeah, thanks for the support on Patreon and being part of our Discord, playing games with us on BGA all the time.
Much appreciated. All right, we're moving on to Mary, and this is her collection right here.
Also a patron.
Also a patron.
Some very nice homemade shelves here.
Yeah, and they're full to the brim pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a little bit like gaps of space, but there's not a whole ton here.
Yeah, and I want to mention, she told us in her email that she is 51 and she just got into board games, I think, this year.
It's
so
a healthy collection. For,
new collection. Like new collection, but that's a lot of games. Like, it took me years to get up to this many games in my
She just
in
got
my
into
collection.
board games and she got Captain Sonar.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Have you played this with 8 players yet? Because we've only been able to do it once.
So I haven't. I'm
Right.
dying to try Captain Sonar.
That was a long time ago too. But I just blame that on Brady because it's his copy and he
Yeah,
hasn't
it's true.
specifically forced 8 people to get together to play it again. So
It's true.
there was a pandemic, I guess. but-
Yeah, exactly. Being a responsible one.
Yeah.
Um,
Santorini, New York, specifically. Which, you know what? I ignored Santorini, New York because I was just like, oh, I have Santorini. They just rethemed it, and someone commented either on a Discord or on a YouTube comment or something, saying that like it's actually a really good re-implementation, like new version of Santorini in terms of like not only the theme but like the abilities and stuff
yeah,
like that.
apparently they changed things up a
Yeah,
little
I'm
bit.
curious to
but
try it out, but yeah, it has a nice box. That's for sure.
It's just the original feels so good already. There's so many other games out there. I'm not itching to try it, but
Right.
yeah, I'm more open to it than before. I thought it was a cash grab at first, but
Yeah.
we'll check it out at some point.
The second shelf.
Wait, you guys just gloss over Cascadia, which just climbing the ranks here on the BGG.
It's almost the top shelf billing.
Yeah, almost.
Technically, Long Shot is.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Maybe Lantern's Dice.
And I just have to. Oh, that's why. I think that's Carcassonne Hunters and Gatherers.
is.
I was wondering why it was green, but that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Is that a
Which is-
a
it-
standalone version or is that an
Yeah, it's a
expansion?
standalone.
Oh.
I actually tried it on Board Game Arena for the first time a couple months ago, and it's actually pretty good. Better
Yeah?
than I was expecting. Yeah, it's not as good as the original in my opinion, but definitely a great game.
Hunger I've only played it once.
Yeah.
And you haven't played it yet. We've got to get into it.
On the Rocks? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. There's a few in here I don't recognize.
Yeah,
but
Cat Crimes. on the
also,
next shelf
this
here.
second shelf is where like there's a lot going on this second shelf. There's a lot of games here, like especially these small box games that are all fitting in there.
That's
and,
what I was gonna say too. The small box
Yeah.
is deceptive. How many good games are tucked in there that you might miss when you just look at the big boxes from afar.
Codenames is a classic. Lost Cities is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, she even has Sequoia there. When Ultimate Werewolf, Point Salad, Bonanza, like Guillotine, Silver and Gold.
Yeah, Friday,
There's
which I
tons
really
of
enjoyed
really good
playing
ones.
solo.
Yeah.
Even Draftosaurus as like it goes up to 6. Like a quick drafting game is a fun one that we've played a bunch on BGA.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of good games in there.
Cat Crimes.
Then again, there are also a fair amount between us here. I mean, and based on what's also on the bottom shelf, but in total, there's probably a good chunk of games that you and I have each culled.
Yeah.
I can see Coatl that I got rid of, and I feel like there was an
Guillotine
Imperial
I got rid of.
Settlers. Yeah, you got rid of Guillotine.
New York
you
Zoo
got
I
rid
got
of
rid
Zoo.
of,
Mysterium on this next shelf you
Yeah,
got rid of as
yeah.
well. So Neoville, I think,
Like
right?
games that I enjoy. Oh, yeah, Neoville's
That's the
hiding
thing.
over
Yeah,
there.
they're all games that we have enjoyed that we'd be happy to play again. None of these are games we just like. Games that we had a lot of good experiences with and just eventually moved on from. So basically, this person has our leftovers on their shelf.
Yeah. And some of our current meal as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yes,
also
yes.
some leftovers.
Yeah.
Even the bottom shelf here. I mean, like you have classics like Ticket to Ride and Azul and Clank, which I love. Like, what impresses me the most with this one is the like variety of games for someone who just got into the hobby.
Yes.
Like, you could basically have this if you just got into the hobby and this is your shelf and your collection now. You could basically ride the wave on these games if you didn't want to buy any more for the next year, and you'd probably still like be okay for a while.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of games to go through here.
And
experience.
you've got some deeper strategy games for you to get into now that you're like maybe more into the hobby, while still having a ton of gateway games to get more people kind of pulled into the hobby with you. So you have all these games on your shelf that are just like ideal for introducing other people, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know exactly everything that's going on down here. This is the only section that I'm, or not the only section, but like this is the one where I think it needs the most love. Is like you got Reef hiding in the shadows, you got Neoville kind of hiding back there. I can't even like Forbidden Islands there.
That's Munchkin.
This is some sort of Monopoly
yeah.
version, but like, I can't see it because there's some sort of can. Is this even a game?
Edwards Coffee?
Yeah, I think it's just a
It's
coffee
just like,
grounds
but
down there.
are there like
Oh,
components
okay.
in
You're right.
there?
There probably
or,
is some sort of components in there. Like there's a lot going on down there. I could probably use a little bit of love, but at the same time, it's just getting to the point where there might not be room to place anything else on the shelf. But I mean, honestly, the most impressive thing, like we said, is just for someone who just got into the hobby. This is a healthy collection. This is pretty great.
Definitely good assortment of games, especially well done on the small box games. You have so much like variety and good game just in all those small box ones and those like 3 piles there.
Yeah. So if you could only have one entire shelf, which one would you take? And the other 2 are gone.
Probably the second one, because even though there's a lot on the top shelf that appeals to me, a lot of the ones that do appeal to me are ones I haven't tried yet. So I don't know yet what I'm going to think of Captain Sonar and Long Shot the Dice Game and whatever. So I would definitely go middle shelf. What about you?
I would go to the bottom shelf because I just could really use a cup of coffee right now.
Okay.
No, the middle shelf for me as well. No, this is a great collection. It's another one where I don't have a ton to roast aside from, like, I guess someone, if I don't, I was gonna say, if I don't roast this more, someone's gonna roast me for being too easy on it. But like, there is some room to grow in the organization because obviously you have some games on the side over here. You have different sizes. You have one little like expansion tucked away over here on the top of Sagrada. You have games like Cat Crimes and Go Nuts for Donuts or whatever. They're kind of just sitting on top all loose. I mean, I don't know how you do any of this better. Like, there's a lot of games to fit onto this shelf, but it is just a little cramped. And obviously, you could probably just move your coffee to the kitchen, right? Like, you don't need to have your coffee with your board games. But I'm sure there's something else in the coffee can, and if so, please let us know in the comments what is in this Edwards coffee can, and is it coffee? We'd love to know.
Very curious.
Otherwise, thanks so much for sending in your collection, Mary.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for supporting us on Patreon as well.
Yeah, I think she was probably one of our very first patrons when we launched and has been supporting us the entire time. So yeah, thank you.
All right, now we have, I guess we have Philip next. I clicked the wrong one. We're going to Philip. Okay. So Philip's collection is a nice, healthy one as well.
Before we get into his collection, though, we have to mention some of the comments that he made in his email, right?
Yes,
He
of course.
did mention that his game tastes are very close to mine. He got into the hobby 12 years ago with Carcassonne, which was also my gateway game. He says very clearly, I am on Team Agricola. Thank you, Philip. And then also, I'm a huge Knizia fan who recommends auction games to people as often as possible. He's just ticking all the boxes here. He goes on to list in detail how he kind of went about his shelf organization. We're not going to get super into that or anything, but I will highlight that he mentions his top 10 games of all time, and in those top 10 are 4 games that are in my personal top 10 as well: Agricola, Modern Art, Race for the Galaxy, and Babylonia. So I just wanted to highlight that because, Philip, that's quite a bit of overlap there.
And I just want to highlight that I think Philip is buttering you up so you don't roast him so much in this
I'll roast.
You better. All right, so we have a very full shelf here as well, but there are a lot of bigger box games here. So
this guy Euros.
We have an entire Aeon's End shelf. We have an entire Dominion shelf.
Yeah,
we have an entire Azul shelf. We have an entire Ticket to Ride shelf.
How's that for organization?
This is just a beautiful thing to see. So obviously we've seen people with Dominions before. I mean, that's like, I think given how many copies that are editions of Dominion, that's probably pretty, keeping things.
It's true.
Pretty small.
But where is Prosperity?
I was going to say, isn't that the one you always...
Prosperity and Intrigue, in my opinion, are like by far the 2
ones.
best. Then I really like Seaside as well. Hinterlands is good. I'm not even familiar with... What does that say? Menagerie?
Yeah, I think that's the newest. That's either the newest or second newest
cool.
one. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, and what are you going to do when the 5th Azul comes out? Are you just going to have to, it's going to pain you a little bit, I know, because there's no way you're going to fit a 5th Azul into that cube. So you're going to have one more Azul off to the side somewhere, and it's just going to kill you.
You don't think you can put the Master Chocolatier version horizontal on top? No, you don't need Master Chocolatier because
I'm talking about Azul 5. I'm talking about the one, it's not going to fit there.
Well, but I thought you said Azul 5 in our comparison video. I thought you said it was going to be either a roll and write or a legacy game.
Oh, it's going to be a legacy.
The shape of the box it'll
take the whole cube up, because it's going to be like Gloomhaven size, right?
Exactly. That's a lot of Ticket to Rides.
Mm-hmm.
Who needs that many? Do you play them all, Philip?
I'd be curious, Philip. Now that, I've played Ticket to Ride and Ticket to Ride Europe. I never owned Europe, but you did. But I always preferred Europe, and I always thought if I had both, I wouldn't play the original anymore. I'd only play Europe. I'm curious if you actually play both versions. So, do you alternate between them just to shake things up, or do you find that you just gravitate towards one because it's better now? That's just something I'm always curious about, because I personally would never own both, because I know one of them would just never get played.
Right.
For me, anyways. I'm sure that's probably what kept you from buying the original, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. This is an entire Uwe shelf over here, which is has Agricola.
Agricola with the expansion. He's got Feast for Odin on a different shelf. It got relegated to the kind of Uwe leftovers.
Relegated. That's
if they're with Spring Meadow and Puerto Rico,
Feast for Odin stands alone, so it needs to be on its own shelf.
Oh, what's it doing with Puerto Rico then?
It's just... I don't have an answer.
The fallen Puerto Rico, fallen from the top of the BGG chart. This is the games he's like, I really like these at first, but after multiple plays, just kind of push them off to the side.
You know what? He has another Uwe game here. He just he had to have something. Oh my god! I just noticed. I'm interrupting myself. Is this that special modern art version?
I think it is.
Oh my god! I'm on the side of the box. Looks beautiful.
That's the thing. He's got his. Philip, I feel like you've watched the channel for a while and you just know how much we love Knizia and Rosenberg, and how are we supposed to roast you when you've got 10 Knizia games.
We haven't really roasted any of these
sandwiched between some great Uwe Rosenberg games. Look at these Knizia games, Tigris and Euphrates. Yeah. I would steal that from.
This is a beautiful thing to look at. Right now.
Ra I want, Medici I want to play. Again, that version of modern art goes for well over $100. Through the Desert is a Grail game. It's out of print.
And a mix too, because he has one of the newer ones, which is Witchstone, which I really like and stuff, and the older ones like Tigris and Euphrates.
Samurai is obviously another super old copy that is again out of print. Yeah.
This is a beautiful thing. I could just sit here and admire this all day.
And again, he said in his email that he was thinking about eventually having a triple K section. I guess that sounds pretty bad now the way I'm reading it.
Maybe clarify what you're
I should just say designer names: Knizia, Kramer, and Kiesling.
Yes.
As soon as I said it, I realized how come I didn't think of it when I read his email, but now that I say it out loud,
maybe that's not how we'll refer to this from now on.
Knizia, Kramer, and Kiesling. So,
yes. But even that, those are all designers we love as well.
Absolutely. So, and that's the Kramer and Kiesling ones are here. Tikal, Mexica, Cusco, El Grande, big box. Damn, the big box. I still haven't played the regular game.
El Dorado and the expansion, Lost Cities. Yeah. We have a Stefan Feld shelf as well.
Oh, that's ingenious. Just in a different language, clearly,
and the whole Stefan Feld shelf.
Oh, but he's got the, is that the, I think that's the newer, nicer version of Carpe Diem. Because they printed one where there's 4 different shades of green that all look the same, and
Right.
then they came out with a new one because people complained.
Race for the Galaxy.
Yes!
Not
Philip.
Roll for the
Race for
Galaxy.
the Galaxy.
Not Terraform
Well, of
Mars
course, he
Ares
had it in his top
Expedition.
10. He had it in his top 10.
And what do we have down here? A lot of these I haven't played, or you have Hansa Teutonica, but we
But I haven't played it yet.
Keyflower.
Kalis and Grand
Love
Austria
it.
Hotel are games I really want to try. Yeah, Keyflower is one that we've talked about.
Yeah.
One of our favorite games, and no one seems to have it when we roast people's collections.
And we seem to be finding more collections that have it now, but
Yeah.
it's always a nice thing to see because it
Yeah,
isn't like
yeah.
the most popular one to see on a
Whoa,
shelf.
look at that old copy of Lost Cities.
What
That
is
must have been
copy
actually
of Lost
public. Well,
Cities?
like the game actually came out in like 1999. That's probably one of the
Oh, yeah.
earliest editions.
This collection
Very
just gets
cool.
more and more
Battle
impressive as
Line,
we
which
go.
is probably still my favorite 2-player only game. High Society's got
Yeah.
tons of Knizias down here too.
A bunch of Concordia versions too.
Yeah.
Just one. Really
Do you
solid.
really, take
Take
thanks.
5,
No,
yeah.
no thanks. Colorado.
Like
I'm having.
what do we
some-
even
yeah,
what do we
I
even
mean,
like
Philip, you're.
what do we even roast here? Like
It's especially because like the organization is good too. I'm looking and I'm like, okay, so he's got a lot of my favorite games from most of my favorite designers. They're organized very well. Even when you see a lot of these games, like these big box Euro common game, like sometimes we see collections that then they don't have the small box games, but he's got the small, like he's got a lot of our favorites. He has For Sale in Colorado and
the one thing
like,
I'll mention is this photo is very perfectly cropped to not show anything outside of these shelves. So is it possible that there's a bunch of messy shelves
grasping at straws.
off to the side, and what we think is a good collection is a segment of a really messy collection, and we're just seeing the good parts? Because what if there's like 3 more copies of Dominion somewhere, and he has more hands,
true.
and he just
True.
wasn't able to fit them? He's like, they don't need to know about that, and he just put them
True.
off to the side,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And what's stashed behind the boxes in the shelf, Philip?
We're on to you, Philip.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have this just perfect, amazing collection. What's going on behind the shelf? That's what.
And
we wanna
Dylan
know.
wants to know, more importantly, what's on top of the shelf.
Yes,
because
you
you've also
cut off the
admitted
top
that.
shelf
Yeah.
billing. I would love to know what you would put on your top shelf billing out of this shelf.
No.
This is a solid collection. Like I can't even really critique how well, like how you
Because-
organize it differently. Like the little games are on their little stacks here. The only thing I can criticize is I don't know how you're going to grow this collection. Not only is there no more spots, but as soon as you get like one more Uwe game or one more Dominion or like the next Azul comes out, or if you want to get another Ticket to Ride or something, I don't even know how you possibly go about
But-
like reorganizing.
And
this.
that's the thing is, I would hope, for your sake, Philip, I would hope that you're not letting the strict organization of your shelves dictate which games you do or don't buy. If you want to go buy another Uwe Rosenberg game, but you don't want to start a whole
You
new
do.
shelf, and you feel like, well, then I would have to get rid of a Ticket to Ride, but then I'm going to have one Uwe game on the Ticket to Ride shelf. Like, just let it be, man. Just enjoy your games, right? So, like, don't be just holding on to all these Ticket to Rides just because they fit the cubicle perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, very
Solid
nice looking collection. Tons of games we've been dying to play for years. So
This might so far be, I think this is on pace, definitely, if not already past it, to be the most well-organized collection roast video we've looked at so far.
yeah. People
this
have
is-
taken it. Like people have been watching for a while. Are tired of seeing us criticize
Yeah.
organizations. So like, if I'm sending in photos, I'm organizing things first.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, that was another patron. They're a new patron. So thank you very much, Philip.
You're gonna have to pronounce this one's name because I'm not gonna get it right.
I believe it is Vigar Jensen.
Vigar Jensen, got it.
I would guess.
Thanks for taking that on
Vigar
for me.
is probably Dutch, judging by the name. But correct me if I'm wrong, Vigar, or praise me
There-
if I'm right, please.
Praise me if I'm right. There's a lot going on
Another
here.
patron, by the way.
Yes, another patron.
Wow,
This is,
yeah. Whew.
This is a gigantic 4 calyx shelf system here. There's 2 big calyxes and 2 smaller calyxes.
Yeah, and then they've also taken the liberty to do top shelf billing on
Yeah.
top of. the
And
top
somehow
calyx.
still top shelf billing because of Too Many Bones.
I was gonna say, but this doesn't have its own prominent
Yeah.
like standing up. Like it actually had to be sandwiched in there
It still
because of how many.
finds a
But
way.
yeah, it finds a way.
Life finds a
Too
way.
many bones, yeah.
Too Many
Is
Bones
this
finds a way.
okay? Hang on a sec. We've been pretty light on the roasting, so unfortunately, Vigar,
You're
might
gonna get the
yeah
brunt of it
because
now.
everyone else did a pretty good job with the organization, and you've got a lot of games here. We're probably you're gonna take the brunt of this. But do you really need all 4 railroad inks? Are they really that different across the versions?
When you
that
sit
need
down to
all
play
4
railroad,
colors?
when you sit down to play railroad ink, do you play all 4 in succession? Is that like so it becomes like a bigger box experience?
Yeah.
Or do you just play one?
And also,
if so, which one?
Did you have Pokemon blue, red, and yellow? Wait,
And
was there also green after
Green in
yellow?
Japan only.
Okay.
Yeah. So you
But
could
yeah,
have had
tell
all
us which
4
Pokemon
versions.
games you had as a kid, assuming that you did play Pokemon.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is interesting. Like I'm curious what went into the picks for all because there's so many games on the top shelf. and not all of them have box sizes. Many of them don't have box sizes that would like make it a necessity to put there. Like, I'm curious if it is top shelf billing that you're subscribing to, or if it's just like you got them later and you just happen to have to slot them in somewhere. Because like Resurrecon is up there.
There are a lot of IPs up here: Marvel, Star Wars, Thanos Rising, Marvel,
God of War
over there, Bloodborne. You've got Alien here. You've got Conan.
Yeah. Mixed in with a bunch of like regular games though, which is
and then you've got the spillover of like Fireflies over here.
Yeah. Like, what is Resurrecon even doing up there?
I don't know. Doesn't belong. I know. I was gonna ask the same thing.
That one needs to move.
Yeah.
This is a big enough collection. We're obviously not gonna go cubicle by cubicle.
No.
But what I am gonna mention is you are killing me a little bit with some of these games. Like Arc Nova being where it is right now,
on top of Patchwork and some other 2-player games and stuff.
Like this shelf, it looks like it's like but like these two in many ways look like there's a bit of an earthquake that just hit these two cubicles.
There's a lot of slanted games going on, things that are just teetering on corners, and I imagine there's all kinds of worn edges on these boxes.
Like Fleet up here, the dice game, and like there's a lot of stuff that's just wobbly on an edge, like, and like there's the little expansion that's on the side here, like above Lost Ruins of Arnak, with an entire stack of the Epic games here. There's a lot of stuff going on here that my eyes are jumping all over and going cross-eyed on here.
It's true, yeah. But then they've got what we've seen some other people have, which is like shelves that are, or cubes that are dedicated to a specific game, like the Tainted Grail cube, Spillover Tainted Grail, Solomon Kane
Role player cube.
Role player, exactly. There's dice thrown up here. There's
Marvel
another
Champions cube, or
more dice thrown.
Cube. A Clue cube, almost.
Oh yeah.
two editions of Clue.
Yeah.
Is that Seinfeld?
And this is all the role player games down here.
I'm sorry.
What?
Is that Seinfeld Clue?
Oh, it is.
And The Office Clue? They made Seinfeld Clue?
Interesting.
What?
But is it actually murder, or is it a different
This is like
theme?
breaking my brain. Like, who sits down? Like, are they, like, the people, is it Hasbro that makes Clue, or whoever makes it? I don't even know. But are they like at the point with the IP of Clue that they just like are like, whoa, we've done it all. Like, what's next? Like, can we get the rights to Seinfeld? Like, I don't understand. That's just the most random addition of Clue I could have possibly seen.
Yeah.
Like, The Office almost makes a little bit more sense because something about the office setting, and there it was like a murder mystery episode and stuff.
Right,
like,
it feels a little bit, but even so, it's a bit of a stretch. But
jeez, 2 Zombicide cubes as well.
Oh, that seems like too much Zombicide.
Wait, 3 Zombicide cubes.
Oh my god.
My goodness.
There's...
That's a lot of Zombicide.
For the amount of collections we've seen where people have like 2 or 3 cubes of Zombicide, like, is there something I'm missing about Zombicide? Like, I feel like every time I've read about it or heard about it, there's very little about the game that appeals to me. And for the amount of boxes, like the amount of size it takes, like, I imagine the cost of all that plastic. Like, I know that I'm just generally averse to a lot of the big Kickstarter miniature heavy games, but I don't know. Like, has Zombicide ever appealed to you?
It hasn't appealed to me, but I'm also like, the zombie theme in general in any medium doesn't appeal to me. Like, I watched the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead, but it was never because I'm big into zombies. But I feel like there was like some people love that theme, and whether it be even just like things that are adjacent to the zombie theme, like The Last of Us video game series and stuff like that. Like, I like some of them, but I'm never like, oh man, this is my jam. So I feel like maybe that's what I'm missing with Zombicide.
That's a good point. And maybe that's what's missing for me too. Is like, I'm never like trying to find a zombie game, but I guess like there aren't really that many zombie board games, or maybe there are. Maybe a lot of them were Kickstarter games that I wasn't interested in or whatnot. But
what do you think about him on his board game shelf storing his ice cubes and his eggs?
I don't know if those are ice cubes, but I was wondering about the egg carton before, because I thought at first, like, what components are they? Are they relating to that game or one of those games?
It's definitely a game, but I like the idea that you just like came home from grocery shopping. You're like, I'll get to this later. You put your eggs above Suro and Ticket to Ride, and you don't think these are giant ice cubes? No.
It's the fact that with all these miniatures boxes, Zombicide, probably some extra tokens or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's like, really the biggest thing here for me is like, there are a ton of really good titles here, like Resurrecon, Santorini, I can only name 2. No, but like there's a Lost Ruins of Arnak. Really like. Dice Throne is popular, and I like the one I played. Blood Rage is on there. Century, Everdell, Azul, Century. Like, there's tons of really good games here, but when you look at the entire thing from like the bird's eye view, there's so many things popping off of different shelves and different sizes and leaning on each other that it makes it so that if you were like walking up to decide what to play, I feel like I'd be overwhelmed with anxiety, being like, oh my god, like what are we playing? What do I grab? Where's this copy of this? Where's that or whatever?
Yeah,
there's a lot going on here.
Yeah,
is the biggest
thing.
And
and I guess we're, as content creators and stuff, people are buying new games all the time. Like we're having to cull games because like we can't, we don't have like a ton of storage space and we want to keep up. Yep. And so we're looking at this through the lens of people who are culling games. So I want to ask you, if this was your collection, like if right now you swapped your own collection for this one, and you were going to cull to get it down to about what you'd like in which terms of which games to keep, approximately what percentage of this collection do you think you would cull?
I could probably get to the
and
point.
that would count Zombicide as one game though, not saying but just based on the size, like just because it's 9 boxes or whatever.
I could easily get this down to just the 2 main Calyxes and lose the entire top section, both Calyxes and the top shelf.
So like 20, you'd cull like what is that, like 20%?
Yeah,
of the collection.
I bet you I can call 20% without even being that difficult to do.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Because there's enough here I see in past, and like me personally, I'd be like, even games I like, I'm like I don't have to own it or whatever.
Yeah.
And like there's shelves that have so many like little games that I'm sure eliminate a bunch of those would create a lot of space and be able to like stack things a little bit better.
Right.
And the very last thing I'll mention is you'll be happy to know he has your favorite game, Magic Maze.
Well, I'm always pointing out my very favorite game, Magic Maze, that we talk about on the channel.
All right, thank you for sending in your collection, and he supported us on Patreon as well.
Yes, that was
I want to make sure I call that out.
4 for 4 on Patreon so far, and now we are on to our final collection.
Yeah, so this is Monica's collection, which is also a big one, and it has a really unique setup here. We've got two angles of it. Two angles of it here, geez. Also has a table similar to yours in like the poker.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's got the 8-sided cup holders built in kind of thing, felt top.
What I appreciate about this collection, before we get into like roasting and nitpicking and stuff, is just
before you tear this
see,
apart.
Yeah, exactly. We see so many collections, and obviously a common and safe thing, even what I do here, is just to have the Calyx and you have the cubes or whatever. And so it is always nice whenever we get these like different type of shelf looks. But I really like that this has like not only a different shelf look, but it's got like 2 shelves that are like flanking a sort of a display area that like you just do front facing games, that has a table as well that you can like have something permanently set up on or whatever you want to do to play there with your game table like in front. Like it has a very unique feel to it, and it differentiates itself from a lot of the other collections we've seen, which I like.
It's a cool thing. You can even have it as like the games that you're hoping to get played next. Like maybe when people come over, you're like, hey, would you guys pick a game like from here? Like these are ones that I have been meaning to play for a while.
And even just like the way that they're positioned, like these games are angled. They're like angled down rather than just being flat. And up here you have games. This is almost like. I'd be very curious if you've ever worked in a retail store.
Yeah,
because like this section looks like it's a retail setup. The
Villainous, you've got certain games facing forward next to the ones that are sideways. Or
yeah. Like it has a really unique feel to it. So I just want to call that out before we trash your collection.
Before we tear this apart.
But yeah, so like we have a lot of different like memorabilia and different things like that too, like these little dice things, and we have like different like icons and even just the Connect 4 board in the background to kind of create different look and feel to it.
And the Hungry Hippos up there
as well.
Awesome,
Is this a vacuum or? Oh my God, is that one of those metal detectors to like find treasure on the beach?
Oh, is that what that is? I was
staring
at it, wondering.
Have you found any treasure? Let us know what kind of treasure you've ever uncovered. Now I'm very curious.
Awesome.
Let's do a whole episode where we interview.
Oh my goodness, Candyland, Yeti in my spaghetti, bugs in the kitchen. What games are these?
Yeah, these are great.
Candyland I've heard of, obviously.
Oh my
Yeti
God,
in my spaghetti.
So I'll tell you a little story. So Factor Crap, I didn't realize it was a board game. But when I started one of my jobs, that at the time was like my dream job, and I was really excited to have it. I had a page-a-day calendar that was Factor Crap, that exact brand.
Oh, okay.
And every day was a fact or whatever that could be crap, and you had to like read it, and then you turn the page to look at the other side and discover where it was fact or crap.
Okay.
And everyone in like my department and other departments would gather around at the end of the day. They'd all come over, and we'd all do the fact or crap, and everyone would take their vote. And I kept a tally in Microsoft Excel of everyone's score, and we went the entire season, and until the end of the year, we determined like who had the best fact or crap.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was great.
Nice.
So I don't know what the board game's like, but the page-a-day calendar is a riot.
Hang on, go back down for a second.
Yeah.
Right next to it, True Colors. Have you heard of this game?
No.
They've talked about it on Board Game Barrage. This is the type of game where you apparently want to play only with people you're very, very close with, because you'll come up with a category of like who in the group here is most likely to like like get into a car crash or something, and you're having to basically argue like, no way, they'd be way more. Remember that other time that they were like, really, and you're like. You're trying to argue for why one person is the most likely, but they specifically pick things that would be like kind of these loaded discussions. It's like you have to listen to everyone talk about why you'd be like the clumsy one or like it's
that's awesome.
A game that could like cause like you want to play with people you're real close with, otherwise a lot of like tension and kind of But interesting game. I'm kind of curious now if sorry, I forget the name of the person whose collection was.
Monica.
Monica.
Yeah.
Monica. I'm kind of curious who Monica has played this game with, and if she has had any of those kind of negative experiences where the game has gone too far, and maybe you never played games with that person.
Is that
ever
why it's
again,
on the bottom of the shelf now?
Yeah. Because like, there's not many. This is the first time we've ever seen it on anyone's shelf, and I feel like it's one of those games where all it takes is having one bad experience, and then you just get rid of the game because you're like, I never want to have that happen again.
Yeah, I'd be curious to try it because I think we have enough times where we get together with a group that type of game would work for.
Yeah,
that it would be probably pretty fun.
For sure, we have enough people we could play that with. I think that we could.
It's the same way that like I don't really play Snake Oil with just anyone.
True, exactly.
Because also the way we play Snake Oil, and if we've never mentioned it before, is that we have a house rule where not only do you have to sell the product that you're combining the two words for, but you also have to create a jingle for that product as if it was like being advertised on the radio or whatever, which is a great way to play Snake Oil if you're wondering.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the games. We have a bunch of Root here, which I'm now even more of a fan of when I see it because of how much I'm becoming just a huge lover of Root. Evolution, is that the original or Evolution Climate?
That is Climate, I believe, yeah.
Evolution Climate, which you're a fan of.
Yeah, great game. Mysterium, which you got rid of not too long ago.
Photosynthesis, which I always love to see because it's one of those gems that, again, isn't always on a lot of shelves, but I just really like Photosynthesis. Just a beautiful game to play.
We really don't see it that often.
No, I think it was on one other collection that we looked at today, but it's not. It's kind of like Keyflower that way. Like it only pops up here and there.
Before you scroll over, I have to point out the Family Feud game, complete with DVD included.
Survey
what's
says.
What's his face? I can't remember the guy.
The guy from Home Improvement.
Yes, exactly. Wow. Okay, sorry. You can scroll over now.
Amazing.
That really caught my eye.
Even the games on display here, like on the main section, like Whatnot Cabinets, one that that's another one I haven't seen a whole ton of on people's shelves, but it's like prominently featured. You and your wife are like huge fans of.
Great game.
Just One, Calico, Wingspan. Both expansions for Wingspan there, or two of them. New York Zoo, which I just got rid of, but I did like. Draftosaurus I haven't played. I think you've played Draftosaurus?
Yeah, a few times on BGA. It's great.
What is Art Travels? That's an amazing name.
Yeah, I've heard the name of it, but I don't know anything about how it plays or anything.
Whenever I see names that are like weird like puns like that, I always come back to my idea for. I don't even know if I want to say it. I want someone to steal it. Well, if someone steals it, I'll just take the credit. But of doing, I want to make a game about a worker placement economic game about working in a glue factory, and I want to call it Glue Maven, and so that every time someone talks about it, I just piggyback and ride the what is it called? Riding the
coattails.
I'm gonna say the tailpipes. Riding the tailpipes of Gloomhaven. So if anyone wants to go ahead and make that game, I'm not going to, but I think it's an amazing idea. Just like kick me like
just gave up the idea.
Kick me like 5% commission, and you can have the rest. That's fine. This shelf, even though it's not like the most well organized in terms of like stack, like Legacy is just like stacked right on top of there and stuff. I just love this little section with the villainous and
I know this is the one
like,
that makes you feel like you're in a store.
It's awesome.
And again, like. Okay, we've seen like 25, 30 collections. This is like the 6th or 7th time we've seen someone have Bob Ross, The Art of Chill. I did not realize this game. Like, how is this game more popular than like Race for the Galaxy, Keyflower? Like, there's all kinds of other games that were like, how are these games not here? And everyone has Bob Ross.
It would be interesting if by the end of the year, one of us has the time and wants to go through all the collections we covered to see which game showed up the most.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm just curious. Sure. It's probably not that one, but I'm curious like which game.
Yeah,
now that you say,
maybe something like
is in most of the collections or whatever. Yeah, Codenames maybe
seen
or something.
In a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, Codenames was in a bunch of ones today.
Actually, for the end of year thing.
Thanks for volunteering to do that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I volunteered right here on record.
Is this an Uno shuffler?
Oh, like, maybe. I don't know. And that's an old school Connect 4, just basic Connect 4.
I don't know what the hell's going on here, but that's great.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
That's actually looks like a stuffy from Root. That's the Marquise the Cat, which is really cool. Oh, no way!
A bunch of Magic decks here.
At least
single cards.
I just played Magic the Gathering for the first time in like 5 or 6 years in like the physical version the other day, and it was great. I love it just as much as I did before. I'll never get back into it the same way, but I want to play it more. It's so much fun.
Great game.
Yeah.
Big reason why we're board gamers today, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we would get together like really quick story again, we would get together and we would basically each have like 8 Magic the Gathering decks we built, or 9 or whatever, and our like thing we would do if we were going to the cabin or we were like getting together for a weekend is we would just do a tournament with all the decks.
Yeah.
We could even use each other's decks. We'd make like a
playing,
round robin rack or whatever. We determine what the best deck was, and you had your like, you know, your red and green deck, or red deck and your green deck that were like you consider your strongest, and I kind of had the same thing. We'd always like see if they're gonna get toppled or whatever. It was so much fun. It was just amazing. Loved it.
Lots of memories playing Magic.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have it. I'm curious, have you like, was Magic something you still play, or is that something you play in the past and you're just kind of tucking it away there because you don't want to get rid of it? I'd be curious to hear. I'm always interested. I posted this in our Discord when I told people that I played the other day, just like who still plays, or when did you get into Magic, when did you get out of Magic? And everyone has a different, it's like, oh, I started in Nemesis and I played until this, or I started in Ravnica and I played till this. Like everyone has a different like arc that they played of Magic. It's always so interesting. Yeah, this is a solid collection. Like I said, the biggest takeaway for me is I just love the like uniqueness of the look of the shelves. I will say you should fill these 2 cabinets, right, or the cubbies, I should say, right here. You have 2 empty cubbies on your main
Especially if it's
display.
your display ones,
Just take a couple games off the shelf. You put like Root in there or something like that. Just tuck it away and fill that spot. Otherwise, we're just seeing white wall, which is unacceptable.
Oh, maybe she has by now, because I think she sent us this collection back in, what was this, February?
Yeah, we should have mentioned this was sent to us a while ago. This collection probably evolved a lot. And if you have an updated photo, feel free to post it in our Discord, or, you know, share it on the YouTube comments or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
but otherwise,
just got too many collections to keep up with, people.
No kidding. Thanks so much for sending it in. We really appreciate it, Monica. And that is our 5th collection. So that was all of them. Everyone, thanks so much for sending your collections again this month. If you would like to have your collection potentially viewed, just send your collection to allyoucanboard@gmail.com. If you're a patron, please let us know. We have a list of like all the patrons. Sometimes we like, if the email address is different, it doesn't show your name or whatever, so it's hard to tie them together. And if you are a patron, you'll get priority access right to the front of the line to make sure you're featured right away. Otherwise, we kind of just do them in not exact order, but we just go back and, you know, gift the ones we can whenever we can. There's a lot of collections to go through. We can basically have no one send us collections for like the next year, and we would still be able to get through the entire year. So anyway, send us your collection if you'd like. Otherwise, look out for the next episode, which will be coming out sometime next month. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.